All right, here we got some crazy stuff to go through today. These are electronic shotgun rounds. No, they're not smart or curved or anything. They're actually filled with electronic parts. So here we have got a ceramic resistor. We're going to see if 5 watts is a big bad mofo. We've got ourselves a little capacitor. This is a fun one. These are screws, but they're plastic screws. You know, the type that come out of vacuum cleaners and crap. Christmas lights, a little festive thing for this year. This is the ferrite core out of a small board mount transformer. Here we got some buckshot made of small resistors and capacitors. Here we have a complete board mount transformer, and then 2 sizes of caps. And what are we shooting at today? Well, we're going to shoot an HP F15003 monitor. This should be a hoot. All right, first shot, ceramic resistor. Here we go.
Here we can see the shot coming in at 5,000 frames per second. This is exactly as filmed, with no frame rate manipulation yet. I loved watching the ceramic chunks come into the screen. It must have shattered right at the muzzle of the gun. And I haven't checked the bore to see if we scratched it all the way up or something like that. I was able to dig out, you'll see it in a later shot, I was able to dig out powdered ceramic from the center of the monitor screen, but not out of the edges where the 2 chunks went in. Interestingly enough, the greatest damage was probably the shot cup itself.
Well, we can see, I don't know where we hit with the main blow. We've knocked the screen loose, but we didn't puncture through it. There was no kick whatsoever. A bit of ceramic clearly hit there. I got some ceramic embedded right in there. And I bet that's the wad that did that. Some ceramic punched through the 2 corners. But yeah. 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 I don't expect the capacitors to do much either, simply because they don't have any weight, so there's no impact there. Next up, for our enjoyment, a capacitor. I do not expect any real joy out of this. We'll be filming at 3,000 frames per second. It's gotten a little darker out here, so I'm dropping the frame rate and hope to get me some light. Capacitor, here we go. All right, this is the first of our capacitors. There's no weight there. It is not going to do anything. Here we go.
This is at its natural frame rate of 3,000. We had to drop the frame rate because the clouds were rolling in and it was getting darker and darker. I didn't expect it to do much, but I was quite surprised and kind of pleased that it buried the capacitor can in the center of the screen and sort of embedded it in there. I've had to mess with the lighting quite a bit because, as I said, we were losing all of our illumination.
Well, there's where the capacitor hit. It did not punch out or even crack the back. More of the shroud's coming apart. Well, I got more. Here's the wad. Wad is stuck in there. Well, we'll leave it. Let's shoot some more capacitors. All right. Capacitor dos. You can see that one sticks out. But it went in okay. Capacitor number 2. Here we go.
Well, that storm just kept rolling in, and it just kept getting darker and darker. Although this is at 3,000 frames per second. That capacitor seemed to come in one shot up high, and I love how it just blew the bezel right off. You can see the entire computer sort of rippling. We do make sure to pick up all this stuff. You should always pick up your vandalism. Otherwise, people get really mad and don't let you come up and shoot anymore.
Ooh, there we got a little more carnage, don't we, bud? Well, that's where the capacitor went in. Ooh, and it didn't quite come through the back shield, but we mushroomed it pretty good. Fun, 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 fun. All right. Well, the next capacitor I have, oh, there it is right there, or one of them, buried. Well, the next one I have is backed up with a little bit of wax and birdshot, so it'll pack quite a bit more punch. Well, the weather is settling in on us, so we're not going to get much more. This is a small capacitor, and it is backed with wax and birdshot. This is going to have a little more pop.
So here's our last shot of the night. It's just too dark. And while I love the shot, I think it's awesome that the capacitor comes into the center and then that ring of birdshot around it. I was a little surprised the birdshot broke loose like that, but whatever. It was a nice ending shot. We're going to save the rest of the stuff for another day, a bright day, because we have some pretty cool, strange things to come out of the end of the shotgun, and I want to be able to see that. Ideally, I'd love to see the Christmas lights in color as they fly. So, we're going to call it there for this evening, but we will revisit this when the weather in Montana clears back up.
Kaboom!
Well, clearly we know that the birdshot broke out of it. So, because the birdshot broke out of the wax, that took away all of its concentrated pop. Hopefully it made for a decent video.
I love it in reverse. Well, that wraps up our video. If you liked what you saw, why don't you click that thumbs up button, or maybe even subscribe. We do think this will be the beginning of a long and beautiful shotgun relationship.